welcome back to Steve Rob Reviews and another informative video, and we're going to install this. This is the first time I've run across one of these before, and that's a one of these hour meters that has a replaceable battery. Now I've installed all kinds of different hour meters on my generators, post hole auger, a whole list of, well, I install an hour meter on everything that doesn't come with an hour meter. And this particular snowblower didn't come with an hour meter, so I like to install one. This one here I found, I'll show you what I paid for this. So that's what I paid for this. And for the money, I think it's worth it. I mean, I'm going to take you over to the bench. I'm going to show you what this looks like. And this isn't just a regular hour meter. It's something else. So let's go over, let's take a look. Okay, so let's take a look. And I'll tell you something. Let's just see what's all in here. So what I found amazing with this is, well, when I looked online, I seen what it was all about. And here's the operate instructions here. And they're pretty basic. But the whole idea behind this is the first one that I've seen where you have the replaceable battery on the back. And you can replace this battery, and I think that's just awesome. So let me just get my screwdriver here and I'll open this up for you. And there you go right there. Now you got to pull this tab to get it to work. So let's just pull the tab. And I think that was some sort of an O-ring there. Yeah, I'm going to stick that back in. So I guess that's to seal it. Wow. Okay. Like this O-ring is probably made for one-time use. Okay, I'll work with that later. Okay, so is this thing going to turn on? Where's the, oh, there it is right there. Okay, so now you got to go through all the menus and everything else, and I'm going to do that. But this, here we go right here. Now this shows hours. It also will do RPM, and you just wrap this 5 times around your spark plug wire. I'll show that. And what I think is amazing is it comes with some Velcro, double-sided Velcro. If I can get this off without destroying it here. Okay, so you can see where this would go on the back like this. Peel the tape off and stick it on. And of course you got to have this on, but I got to fit that O-ring in there somehow. And it automatically shuts off after a while too. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a whole menu on this thing. Like, I mean, so what it does say in the instructions is, well, the least times you touch these buttons, the longer the battery's going to last. You should get about 8 years out of it. And you know what? That's what I usually get out of one of these. That's a sealed unit. So you have the opportunity to screw it on something, or you could use the Velcro. Now I'm going to be using the Velcro, and I won't be using the RPM. I have no use for using the RPM. The only thing I want to do is the hours. And what I like about this one here is, well, when the battery dies, you don't lose all your settings. You snap another battery in and you can see what your total hours was from previous. And then you've got a menu section here where, take for instance, like on this snowblower, you got to change the oil after the first 5 hours and then every 50 hours after. So what I can do is I can set this for a reminder that after 50 hours this is going to start to blink. And you know, when you think about it, 50 hours is a lot on a snowblower when you're only using it for maybe how many times a year? Maybe, for me, I'm lucky if I can get 8 hours out of a snowblower for the year. That'd be about it for me, I'm thinking. But I thought this would be a useful thing for the money that I paid, and I'll try it out. Now, I won't go into the format of the maintenance reminder because I just want to look at the total hours, have the battery last, and then I can replace it like every 8 to 10 years. And it's just one of these coin batteries. This one here is a 2450, and that's going to work out for me. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to finish reading all the instructions, set it all up the way it should be, and put this O-ring in the back, attach it to the blower, and I'll bring you back what it looks like, because you know what? Anybody can wrap this around the spark plug wire, and they come with a couple of zip ties just to hold it on there with. And it takes a reading off your spark plug wire for every time that it fires for the RPM, and it'll also take a reading at the same time that it's actually operating, and that's the one that I'll use, is the hour meter. And it'll show every time the spark plug's firing, it'll start to rack up the time on here. So I'll bring you back after I install this. I have to find a spot to install it where, you know, you start taking stuff apart years from now, you want to put it in a spot where it's not going to get in the way, where you got to take this off all the time. So I'll bring you back when that's done. Okay, so I showed it running before, and the tachometer works awesome. And so I ran it for 10 minutes, and there you go right there. And it's on the 0.1. So what I like about this is, which I've just been reading, and I think it's just terrific, is I hold these both together, and it shuts it off. So the battery in this is going to last me super long time, because I'm only going to turn this on probably maybe at the end of each season and just see what the hours are, because I don't need to have it running constantly showing the tachometer and the hour readings and everything else. So I'll show you how I got this hooked up, and then I'm going to show you something interesting in the paperwork about how long it would last if you just left everything on. Okay, I'll show you a couple of things that I've done to this, because the labeling on this is just horrible. So I put here, you can see the little notch here. This is the fuel valve, and that's off, and this is on. So let's go on to the other side of the machine, and I'll show you how I had to change it for the choke, because the labeling on this machine, well, it needs some improvement. Okay, so there we are with the choke knob. You can see I put marker on this. So that would be the choke there, because you know what? I had to write it in here and put it on, because this here you can't even see when you're standing, you know, up at the machine, which way is the choke on and on. It's got a little bit of a notch here, and it shows, like, you know, the plate inside being closed. But I mean, really? I mean, they could have done a better job on that. So I put it here because, you know what? I'm not always the one that's using the machine. So when you go to start it, it will actually start instead of somebody leaving it in that position trying to start it. So let's take a look and see how I installed this. So this is about the easiest installation I've ever done. When I just put the 3M Velcro strip down here, stuck this on, ran it over here, and I just got myself a little bolt. You can see how much threads was sticking up on this one, the same on here. I put a little bit of a wire retainer in here, put a nut on top, and then I brought it up here, and this is the vent tube, and brought it further in. Now make sure it doesn't touch any linkages inside, which it doesn't. It just comes right straight up. I put my loops here. Started off with the first zip tie here, ended it at the end right here. And I had lots and lots of cable. Now I will tell you, I fooled around with the readings of the tachometer, and this machine does not run at 3600 RPM. It usually runs, the lowest I could get it to go was around 2000 at the lowest speed, and about 2900 wide open. So let's go over to the bench, and I'll show you how long this would last if you're using the full features of this with the tachometer running all the time. So there's the instruction sheet there, and they're talking about how long it would last. You know, if you had the tachometer running and you left the display on, if you had the tachometer running and the hour meter running, and turned it off in between trips. And I'll tell you something, for the amount of years that they're claiming that this will stay on, you know, me turning it on and off once a year, well, it's going to last me for like a lot longer than most people would just leave it running, because I don't need to see the tachometer running or the hour meter running. So, you know, by me turning it off, I think it's going to last a long time. So here's how much cable I had left. I'm going to put everything in the box, put a label on this for the hour meter, and if I ever need to use these instructions. Now I will say the instructions are pretty good. I mean, for a lot of stuff that I see with instructions, the instructions is pretty good, pretty simple, pretty easy to use. Whether it's 4-stroke or 2-stroke, you can just adjust the you know, the settings for it. And I'm saying for the money and the replaceability of the battery, and it saves all your features, and it also, you know, is used as a countdown timer for maintenance. This thing is a keeper. Well, thanks for joining me here today. I think that's just about the easiest hour meter I've ever installed. I come with everything in the box. I'm completely satisfied. We'll see what the long-term use of this is. And you know that O-ring on the bottom there? I never did get that back in there. There's no way. So, but I mean, it's upside down, so it's not like I got it mounted sideways where water could get in or that kind of stuff. So if you do happen to buy this particular unit, make sure when you're taking the battery compartment plug off the back, you just don't you know, rip that thing right out like I did. So, or you could just put like a piece of tape over top of that maybe, you know, just to seal it up good. But I like it, and she's staying off until, you know, next year when I turn it back on, because you know, when you think about it, how do you remember the total hours for a lot of stuff? And you know, these machines aren't cheap. I like to maintain my equipment and change the oil a little bit before the required time. And this is just something else that's available, I think, for a pretty low cost. Leave me a comment down below if you're the type of person that likes to have an hour meter on something for your maintenance, because I just don't like to guess. So thanks for joining me here today. If you haven't seen this channel before, you're welcome to subscribe. Come back again and see some interesting things that I do. I hope you find interesting too. Cheers.